Greetings YouTube. Today I'm going to film the last segment of my weapons collection. Now I think I may have a couple of blades left in my everyday carry bag, but at some point I'm going to do a video on that bag itself, so whatever I've got left will end up in that. And my wife is convinced that there are some knives hidden around the apartment elsewhere that I'm unaware of, which is, I guess, possible. So we're going to start and on down here on the left side and move our way to the right for the first row. So here we have a couple of classic puka design, all wooden handle. And this is a fillet version. This was a gift from a friend who had been in Europe. Here we have a cold steel skein-doo, the classic Scottish knife they would carry in their sock. That's a factory second. This is like this little crappy dagger I picked up that someone had made, and I picked it up at a decent price. Mostly the kind of thing that I keep around so I could lend someone. This right here is a very basic camp knife. Nothing all that impressive. Little jimping in the back. Picked it up at Walmart for like 10 bucks. I just happen to like the shape, and I like the laser cut emblem, so I picked it up. Here we have a classic buck hunting knife. When I say the word buck, this is the knife that comes to my mind. This is just such a beautiful design. It's a little chunky in my hand, but my hands are slightly small, but it is such a beautiful blade design. We have a BK7, a good overall 7-inch blade for camp chores. You can baton the heck out of this thing. Lots of really good place for your thumb. Not going to do a lot of delicate work with this, but if you have some heavy work to do, that's your knife. The absolutely classic Gerber Mark II. Aluminum, solid aluminum handle. One of the earliest blades to have actual scalloped edges. Just a wonderful design. Here we have a weighted chain. I just made that for fun. Here we have a very small leaf blade design. Some of these knives have some verdigris on the brass because they've been stored in sheaths under less than ideal conditions, and the inside of the sheaths were not wax. Not my fault, but I need to get better storage facilities. Here we have a Cuda Arclight. It's a cute little blade. I happen to really think this is a great neck knife. It's very light, very easy to carry. Uses a beaded chain to carry it with. This is a kind of a classic American hunting knife, and this was actually carried by my grandfather when he was in the Navy during World War II. Why he carried this, I don't know, but he carried it when he was in Japan as a machinist mate on board a troop carrier. Here we have a classic Gerber. And this one is a Blackie Collins design on that one. Plastic sheath. This is a essentially hiltless, guardless dagger, which I happen to love. It's got a little file work on the back edge, and it's got a wonderful double-edged design. It really feels great in the hands. Light, it's fast, feels good. Here we have classic kind of a Persian design with a Hawaiian wood handle. I can't remember the name of the wood. I apologize. A Casper design, I think. Yeah, Casper design. Fixed blade. They make a folding version of this as well, I believe, from CRKT. This is a very simple single-edged knife. I used to carry this around as an eating knife when I was active in the SCA. Like that one. This is a John Greco, all steel, very basic. I got in contact with this man via letters, actual paper letters, because at the time the internet was not common, and he at the time had no internet connection of any kind, even if I did, and I didn't. And he sent me the blade and asked what I wanted to pay for it. I think I paid him 50 bucks for it. He was happy. This is a blade out of Honduras, very simple. It's got a bird-shaped hilt, horn, guard. This is a tourist piece. My sister got that when she was in Honduras doing nursing. an all steel blade with a lot of heavy file work here. Acts as jimping as well. That was made by a friend of mine for me because I was looking for an all steel blade at the time. This was a hunting knife I picked up was in horrible condition. The aluminum was in tough shape. The scales were all gone. They were gone. There was nothing there. So a friend of mine fitted it out with new furnishers, new spacers, new washers, and everything, and just really made it look good. I think that's German. Here is something a friend of mine made with a hammered metal look to the blade, and he calls it the Klingon circumcision knife, which always made me smile. This right here is horn-handled, simple. It's the back edge is not sharp. It just comes to a bevel. And this is the first handmade knife I ever bought. Very simple. My buddy was just learning to make knives, and that was one of his first designs. Here we have a tanto that he made for me. The steel isn't of the same quality, obviously, as the Japanese models, but it's nice, and I like it, and it's got a nice thick, let me get that in there, nice thick blade, great for thrusting. Speaking of thrusting, square stock, all tip, no edge of any kind, just for use, designed for poking holes in things. Here we have a small neck knife that he made with a bucket sheath, so just hang like this around your neck. I wore this a lot when I was younger. Another one that I wore frequently was this one right here. Kind of a fat little design. Kind of useful. Then we have a classic dagger. I really like the balance on this as far as the look, the distance between the pommel to tip. It's just a really nice balanced look. Let me get that a little more in frame there for you. Very, very comfortable, very pleasant. This one was made by another person that had just been starting out making knives. Another triangular blade, no edge, all tip. Here we have a Swiss bayonet, I believe from the late 19th century. I picked it up at a gun show for like $10. We have another Persian style blade here that my friend made for me. This one right here is from the Philippines. My sister was working there as a nurse at one time, and which is where she learned how to swear in Tagalog. Here we have a Japanese bayonet that my grandfather brought back from Japan. My father has the rifle that he brought back as well. I'll be inheriting that someday. Now this right here is a big, heavy chopper. I mean, this is a thick blade, folks. It's like almost a 1/4 inch thick. It's a lot of blade. It really fills up my hand. It's really meant for chopping. It chops wonderfully. I've done work with that on wood before. It works great. That's a padded set of nunchucks, just in case like you don't want to kill yourself while you're practicing. This is my favorite of my edgeless blades. 3 sides to the no edge, all point. It just feels so good in your hand, and it would thrust so well. This one right here is obviously got an antler grip, brass furnishings, a little wood in there for some variety, a lot of file work on the back of the blade. An interesting story is I saw this and I couldn't decide if I wanted to buy it. I called my buddy up the next day and I said, yeah, I want that blade. Save it for me. And he said, no, I'm sorry, guy. It's already gone. I got all bummed out, but that's the price you pay if you don't buy something when you see it. And then lo and behold, at Yule time, I opened up a gift from my roommate, and there it was. Now this right here is a British machete from World War II from the Pacific Theater. Now, this I picked up at a yard sale really cheap. It was in horrible shape. My buddy reblued it for me. He put entirely new scales, new furnishings, everything. It's really nice. That's not the right sheath for it, but it does protect the blade enough so I don't get hurt when I'm handling it. Here we have another Middle Eastern kind of a design with a very nice little hook right there on the blade. It's light, it's fast, it's got some nice file work on the back of the blade that goes almost all the way down the edge. I don't know if you can catch that. I don't want to get too close because they've got out of focus. Then we have a hunting knife, and I gotta be completely honest with you folks. I have absolutely no idea where I got this from. None whatsoever. It's just here. Who knows where it came from. Here we have a knife that's long, thin, got some nice file work on the back. It's very light. It's got a nice balance to it. It feels good in the hand. It's just a nice blade. I carried this quite frequently when I was at events. This here is, I can't remember the name of the blade this is based off of. It's Greek. It's the kind of ones that the actual Spartans carried, and the name's escaping me at the moment. But it's got a very wide, sweeping grip, so it really stays in your hand. It fits nice. It's got a nice weight, but it still has the ability to thrust. I've worn that quite frequently at SCA events. And last we have a Taga design. I have a Persian design with a really big double choil on that. Kind of a pistol grip. It really points well when you've got it in your hand, like that. It's quite pleasant. And like I said, I think this is the entirety of the rest of my weapon collection. I cannot guarantee this. As my wife says, there may be other blades somewhere in the house lurking in corners and cupboards and boxes and such. But to the best of my knowledge, this is everything. I hope you enjoyed.